Hey, welcome back to Database Development Design, RVCC. This is our SQL lesson, week 5, Aggregates, Lab 4 walkthrough. So as we know, the first thing you got to do is go ahead to my website and go down here to week 5, download the sports stats build and the Lab 4 aggregate. So you have the lab. Let's download these both and go ahead and open up sports stats. Oops, sorry, sports stats build. Again, here we are. Grab this. Oops, lost it. Grab this file. Let's just copy everything over and go into our and run it. Even if you already have a sports stats, if you did less to the first walkthrough with me, this is just going to wipe it out and replace it. 16 rows affected. Now you got a new sports stats. If I come over here, let me close this all out. There's our sports stats. If you don't have that, members do a refresh. You should be able to see it. Okay, so we got stats loaded. We have our sports stats loaded. We can go ahead and get the lab open. So we'll go back to there. We'll open up our lab. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to grab this, and we're going to just paste this into a new window. I'm going to move this window over a little bit more so you can see what's going on. There we go. All right. Okay, slide this across. All right, now we're set up. All right, so here's our lab. Almost, there we go, a little bit better. Okay, so let's go up top here. So again, we're using our sports stats, which always thing you should always do. Number one, make sure you got the correct database in there, my DDD. Always make sure that you are here. It should show the right database up here, from the drop down. Use the DDD. And let's go ahead and just so sports stats, if we look here, this table consists of a couple columns. We have a player ID, player name, teams. We got 3 teams, red, blues, and yellows. Game number, points scored, and whether they won or lost. Okay. So let's go down here. So let's perform a count of all records on the table. All right. So from here, all we have to do is put count. All right. Now, you can alias this. It's always a good habit to alias something, whatever you want to put it as there. But the main thing is all we have is an aggregate. Since all we have is an aggregate, we don't have to worry about group by clauses. Everything's an aggregate in here. Even if I added more aggregates by said sum of points, I can't remember the names of the columns. Hold on. Sum of points scored. I can have aggregates. I can have multiple in a row. I don't worry about the group by. I only worry about the group by once I start getting other stuff in there. So next one, perform a count of all records in the table where the team is reds. So we're going to do a count again. But now what we got to do, if I want the team as reds, well, I have to use a where clause. Where does my where clause come in? It comes in after my from. So I say where team equals reds. And I know I can use this because I know the full name of the team is reds. If I only knew it started with an R, I'd have to use a like clause. But there we go. There's my count. I got 6. List the distinct team names. So go distinct. Okay. Now, notice I didn't have to put the quotes around it. If I wanted to do a distinct, let's say if I did team wins, lose, okay, then I would put it in the quotes here. Actually, I stand corrected. I got an error. Get rid of the parentheses. Don't even worry about the parentheses if you're using distinct. So just keep that in mind. You don't need the parentheses. But so here I got a distinct, a win, a loss. So I got two for each of them because there's a win or a loss in each of them. If one team didn't have a loss or a win, it wouldn't appear in there. So there we go. So return to min and max points scored. So I would sit here and go for, already got it set up for you. I got the select points scored from sports stats. Most of the work's done. So all you gotta do is add a min to it, wrap around it, add a max to it, wrap around it. I would alias both just so I know what the heck I'm looking at. Min, add that as max, and run that. There we go. Minimum point score was 2, max was 32. What's Frank's max point scored? Well, we can just, to make life easier, I'm just going to copy this line and replace this line. And trying to remember what we have for names. I just want to rerun this so I can have the information. Player name. So player name, we need to know where player name equals Frank. There we go. So Frank's minimum was 8 and his max was 23. What's the total of all points scored? For total, we use sum. Okay. Then we say what's the average for all points scored grouped by team. So average is AVG, so that'll give us all points scored there. But now if we want to group by team, we got to put our team in there, which I think that's what we have as team. Let me just run this again. Clearly I have memory issues today. Yes, team is that. And then group by, and then we type in team. Because team is not an aggregate. It's in the select statement, but it's not an aggregate. It has to be in the group by. Okay, if it's not, watch, I'll get an error because it's not in there. Get that same error. It's not contained. So with the group by though, it gives me for each team, I have the average points scored, 10, 14, and 14. Total and average points scored grouped by player. So total will be sum. That's total. Average would be AVG as average. And then we want our player. Now I can even do this, watch this. I can put the player name back here. It doesn't matter what order I put it in. I just have to make sure I add it to the group by. Make sure I spell it correctly too. Player name. And I run that, and there we go. So it averages a minimum by player ordered, And what does the total and average points scored together grouped by team and player? So we're going to start by team, player name, because we want to add those to it, and we want the total sum as total, av as average from team sports stats, grouped by, and again, we got to group by the two that are not in my aggregate. So here we go. And you'll notice my auto sense is working here as I start typing. And it's because that, it's there, it's available. Because Sports Stats been, I didn't just install it today. So Sports Stats been in my system, so it knows it's there, even if I just rewrote it. So that's the big difference. When you just write something, next time you come in, it'll work right. But first day, sometimes it accidentally. All right, number 10. What is the total and average points scored grouped by team and player where player's name is not Frank? Okay. So I'm going to start just with this. I'm going to take this entire thing. So we got average, total and average points scored by team and player. So we're just going to paste that there. And we're going to add a where clause. And the where clause goes in between from and group by. So we say where player name, and we want is not Frank. So we could do this for is not, or we could do this. And we just type in his name, Frank. And there we go. This returns everybody. You notice Frank is not listed. All right. Now, return the count of records grouped by player name where player has a record count greater than 1. Now we have to use having. Okay, so we're going to add player name here to the select statement, fix what I've got written here in the group by to player, and then we're going to say having a count. Remember, we have to put the aggregate in here. We can't just use any name we have. Even if I alias this as row count, I have to put that in there, having it greater than 1. So this is going to return players who have more than 1 record. And there we go. Frank's got 3, Gary's got 2, Jose's got 2, Lisa's got 3, Phoebe has 3. Okay, so there you go. That's the walkthrough for the lab. All right, thanks. I'll see you guys next week.